Hey BookTube, here is a book outlet haul from Black Friday. I'm Jen and I talk about audiobooks and print books lately. Yeah. I actually do talk about print books that I read because I actually do read them and I read ebooks a lot. But I have not bought books this year very much. I say that, but relatively speaking. And on Black Friday, I just thought I'd splurge because they were having a big sale. And so, you know, why not? You know, I love books. Clearly, I have so many that I need more shelves. So I bought books. So let me just show you what they are. Starting out with Just Between You and Me. This is by Jenny B. Jones. And it's got a tagline, a novel of losing fear and finding God. I like Jenny B. Jones. I've read one thing that she's written, but I absolutely fell in love with it. So I thought, when I saw this, two things, Jenny B. Jones, finding God. And I thought, the thing on the back says, the only thing scarier than living on the edge is stepping off it. Boy, faith. Faith in action. Yes, please. Give me more of that because I don't have that gift. I have other gifts. Faith is not a struggle, but it's certainly an effort, big effort for me. Dark Energy is by Robeson Wells, who is the brother of Dan Wells, believe it or not. And Dan Wells wrote the Partials series, which is a YA sci-fi series that I really enjoyed. This is Dark Energy, and it says everything has changed. It's all about aliens. Looks really good. It is, I think it's, I don't know if it's YA sci-fi or adult sci-fi. I didn't really check. The main character is named Alice, and oh, okay. It is YA because it says instead she's the newest student at a boarding school not far from the crash site where the aliens landed. So should be good. No audio though, and no audio on the Jenny B. Jones book either. I have wanted this book for a long time. I saw it was a debut coming out. It looked really good. It's YA contemporary and it's Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. Narrated by Joy Osmonsky and Jacques Ray. And when I first saw this, it wasn't available on audio, and it wasn't available. I kept checking, and I just couldn't find it. And then now it has come out on audio. Good job, publishers. Thank you. This is blurbed by Rainbow Rowell, and I wish I could explain to you what it's about. It's about two people texting, and one is the other's emergency contact. And I'm not sure if that is like a wrong number kind of thing, or if it actually is. I don't know. But anyway, it's a YA contemporary romance. Looks really good. It's got pretty decent reviews, I think. I can never pass up a Jill Shalvis book, especially a hardback. So this is book 1 in her Wildstone series. It is Just Lost and Found Sisters, narrated on audio by Karen White, who does most of her books. And really, this series has become Jill Shalvis's foray into women's fiction rather than the quick little romances that she writes. And I love both because she writes so well. So couldn't pass that one up. Thunderhead is book 2 in the Arc of a Scythe series by Neal Shusterman. I have said this before, I will say it again. I will buy and read anything this man has written because he's so good. This is YA fantasy. It is narrated by Greg Tremblay. Oh my gosh, the narration on this was astounding. It made the book even better, and the story was pretty good to begin with. And it ends on a cliffhanger, and I'm dying for the next book. I mean, it's one of those kind of cliffhangers where you just go, oh my gosh, how is this going to get resolved? So the premise for the series is that humankind has discovered all knowledge. There is no more knowledge to be discovered. And because of this, we live forever. And so people have to die so that new people can come into the world. And so they develop kind of a, it's almost like a religious sect, kind of a cross between that and the military, believe it or not. But the Scythes come and they take people and kill them. And it's kind of like, well, it's your day to die. So you find out right before it happens. You're not aware ahead of time, but nobody wants to die, obviously, so they all fight it and everything. But anyway, it's the story of a couple of them. teenagers that become Scythes. And it's so good. 738 Days is by Stacey Kade, and it's narrated by Andrew Eiden and Shannon McManus. Shannon McManus is Callie Dalton, and I love her. This book I was kind of iffy on when I first picked it up. I was just so interested because 738 days refers to the amount of time that the main character was in captivity. She had been kidnapped by this monster who kept her in a room in the basement that was decorated like a little girl's room, and there he kept her chained up, and he also abused her and assaulted her. And in the room on the wall was a poster of a teen heartthrob actor who was in some kind of a show. And the way this girl coped for 738 days, which is actually almost 2 years, she would talk to the poster, and in her mind it would talk back. So this teen heartthrob was talking back to her. Okay, so the book starts out a couple of years later, and she's been obviously rescued, and it was a very big thing in the press. And this teen heartthrob is an actor now that got into a lot of trouble in his teenage years, and he's shaping up and doing better, and he needs to get his career back on track. So his agent convinces him that he needs to meet this girl in person. They know about the story because of the press when she was rescued. The agent and the actor know about it. So I thought, there are all kinds of ways that this thing can go wrong, and it didn't. I was really surprised. So I can't remember. I think it was about a 4-star book for me. But when I saw it, I thought, I like that well enough that I want to own it. So I need to reread it at some point. Into the Bright Unknown is the 3rd book in the Gold Seer trilogy by Carson. Oh, these covers are so gorgeous. They're narrated on audio by Aaron Mallon, and I have them right here. The first one is Walk on Earth a Stranger, and then the second one is Like a River Glorious. And all of the covers kind of are this way. This is YA historical fiction with a bit of a paranormal aspect thrown in there, you know, element. And the titles of these books are all lines from Christian hymns. I think that's so cool. And they're the kind of thing that they would sing like in the mid-1800s when the gold rush was happening. So, very cool. Letters to the Lost is by Brigid Kemmerer, and it is narrated by Brittany Presley and Kirby Hayborn, which makes this book so good. Kirby Hayborn especially is just such a good narrator, and especially for this book. This is about a girl who has lost her mother. Her mother has passed away. So she writes her letters and leaves them on her grave. And there's a boy who is working in the graveyard, like mowing and maintenance and upkeep, that kind of thing. And he's doing that because he got in trouble, and this is community service that he was given. And so he finds the letters and starts responding back to this girl. So it's the story of their romance, obviously YA and contemporary. And yeah, it was good. I really liked it. Avenged is by Amy Tintera, and it is book 2 in her Ruined series. This is narrated on audio by Emily Rankin, and I am so mad at myself that I didn't get Ruined. I thought it was in my cart when I ordered this whole slew of books, and it wasn't. I'm not sure if it was in there and then maybe it became unavailable. You know how book outlets, sometimes that'll happen, and it'll show up in the list, but it'll say 0. So, I don't know. They're going to have another sale on Boxing Day, so I'm sure I'll be able to grab it then. But this is YA fantasy. Yeah, probably shouldn't need to say more than that. When You Were Mine is by Rebecca Serle, and this is interesting. I think this has to do with Romeo and Juliet, yes, and it's the main character is kind of a girl that's involved with Romeo until Juliet comes back to town. It just looked really good. So, new adult, contemporary, maybe young adult, probably more new adult, and it's narrated on audio by Sarah Grace. Just looked really good. Sublime is by Christina Lauren. This is 2 authors, and I have had my eye on this also for a while. It's narrated by Elizabeth Louise and Cal Wembley, who is Kirby Hayborn. Now, I don't like Elizabeth Louise at all. I don't like her style of narration. I don't like the sound of her voice. It's personal preference, but just no. So I don't know if I tried this. I can't remember. I do think I have it on audio, or I got it on audio at one point. But it's about a boy and a ghost, and they fall in love. Yeah, that's probably all I need to tell you. So, YA contemporary, I guess, paranormal. The Square Root of Summer is by Harriett Reuter Hapgood, and it is narrated by Kade Sobey, and I bought the book because I didn't like the audio. This is set in the UK because Harriett Hapgood is a British writer, and so the narrator is British, and she's got that style, like that BBC narrator or BBC newscaster style that I hate. So it just didn't work for me. And so it's about a young girl. It's YA contemporary, but it's got a lot of science in it, and relativity and square roots and things like that. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for it, to be honest. Challenger Deep is by Neal Shusterman, and this is about mental illness. And I started listening to this on audio. It's narrated by Michael Curran Dorsano, and it's hard to listen to. I think this is a book that the quality of the audio has really nothing to do with it, but the kind of book that this is, essentially you're inside the mind of a boy who is schizophrenic. So because of that, it's a difficult book to read and also difficult to listen to. So I'm gonna read this in print because I tried it and I just couldn't get into it. I thought, oh man, I really want to read this, but this is just too all over the place. So yeah, I'm going to read the print book instead. And the last two are by Emma Mills. I have First and Then and Foolish Hearts. I love Emma Mills so much. These are YA contemporary, and she is just such a good writer. She is able to tell a story with such wit and a clever sense of humor, a clever eye, a little bit of sarcasm, a whole lot of just being clever. The writing is clever. That's probably the best word for it. She's just really talented. This she narrates, and she does it really well. I'm surprised because authors never sound good when they narrate their own books unless they're doing their memoir or something like that. But seldom do they do well, but she did. And she is so talented. I think she's studying microbiology in college or something. Like she's getting a PhD in it or something. She's amazingly, smart. And she writes really good books. So these were funny and entertaining and sweet, a little bit poignant. And the thing I like about this author the most is that she has characters who could sound really pretentious and like they're trying to be hipsters, and they don't. And she's friends with John and Hank Green. John Green's books strike me as a little bit pretentious, whereas these are not pretentious. So, yeah, but in the same flavor, same kind of tone. So, anyway, I'm so glad I bought all these books, and if you have read any of the ones I haven't read, which would be Emergency Contact, Dark Energy, Just Between You and Me, and When You Were Mine. If you've read any of those, let me know, because I would love to know if they're good. On the Square Root of Summer. Oh, I've got other ones here. Anyway, let me know. Let's talk about all that in comments. I hope you're having a great Christmas season. I am. Even though I'm all over the place, my brain is so scattered. Anyway, Merry Christmas, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.